Hi, I'm Say, and welcome to today's video. I am going to be talking about how being a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints was the equivalent of being in an abusive relationship. So the first thing that I want to talk about is the fact that when you become a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, it's like you are promised all of this stuff. You are promised eternal life. You're promised a new beginning, to become clean, to become part of covenant people, to be able to make it to the most highest kingdom of heaven and be able to live with Heavenly Father and to have a loving family and a Christ-centered home and all of these wonderful things. And when you become a member, the missionaries cater to you and they are there for you. Any questions you have, they will come over, they will answer them, they will pretty much do anything as long as they're helping you to move towards baptism. So once you're talking about, yes, I will get baptized, oh, it's on. It's like they are all over you. So not only that, but growing up, I only ever knew toxic men, toxic women, because I don't know, that's what my family was. Um, Especially because my grandfather, he was a narcissist. So automatically, those traits were kind of pushed around and passed on because it's a lot to deal with when you grow up with a narcissist. But being a member of the church, it's like you have this opportunity to, okay, there's going to be good, God loving men here that want families, that want to treat their wives good. So, all these promises, all of this attention, and ward members will pretty much try to do whatever they can for you, be your friends. They will make you feel so welcome and thinking about everything about that first initial contact and first becoming a member. It's love bombing. It's love bombing. All of this affection, all of these promises, all of this stuff. They love bomb you. They make you feel sometimes overwhelmed with this feeling of I belong, I'm loved, I am special, I mean something, I'm so important to this cause, I'm so important to this entity. Like, it's an amazing feeling. And that's exactly what love bombing does. Love bombing is throwing all this affection, all this love, making you feel like you're the best person in the world and you're the only person that other person would choose. And then afterwards, they get you in and all that stops, which is exactly what happens because, as a convert, becoming a member, you're giving up a lot of stuff. You are completely changing your life. And you're gonna make mistakes. You're, I mean, it's a lot of rules. You're going, for me, I was going from being, you know, unruly and kind of wild and out there because of how I grew up. And all of a sudden, it's like, boom, in this little ball. So you're gonna make mistakes. And when you make mistakes, it's like I don't want to say ostracized because, no one ever was like, don't look at her because she's in trouble. She can't take the sacrament or anything. But people know when you don't take the sacrament. They can see you. They automatically assume you did something wrong because you have to be worthy to take the sacrament. So, not only that, but you could have your temple recommend taken away. So it's like the gaslighting, they pull you in and then kind of slowly start to chisel away at who you are and things you love about yourself, and try to mold you into what they want, into what they see is the righteous person and the best person and somebody who loves Jesus and who follows God. So that's the first part of the abusive relationship with the church. Second is trauma bonds are formed. Like what I was talking about, you make a mistake and you have the sacrament taken away, or you can have your temple recommend taken away. You can go through disciplinary action for what seem minor things to other people, outside of the church. And it makes you feel like, oh my goodness, I have to do certain things. I have to act a certain way. I have to be a certain person in order to be loved, in order to be righteous, in order for Heavenly Father to be with me, in order for the Spirit to be with me. It's like you feel like you have to walk on eggshells. And when you're accepted back, it's like you feel amazing because you get to take your sacrament again. You get to go to the temple again. But then you're walking on eggshells and you're holding back yourself and diminishing who you are to please this entity, to appease them. And looking back at it, I'm like, oh my goodness, it is a trauma bond. Because they build you up to break you down, to make you come crawling, doing everything you can to be in their good graces, and then they accept you back in their good graces, and you have to be what they want in order to stay in their good graces. If you do something else that is not in line with what they want or what they think, then again, you are punished. And it's just a cycle. It's a cycle. It's a trauma bond. And you're constantly driven to make choices that will make you worthy in your bishop's eyes or in whoever's eyes you're trying to please, because it seems so easy to have to be punished. So easy to be judged. That you did something wrong, so you can't partake of this, or you can't do this. Like, controlling. So, trauma bond. Check. So that's 2 things so far. Abusive relationship. The third thing was that as a woman, being in a marriage with somebody who was abusive because they were addicted to drugs and had certain problems, whenever I would go to the bishop, when I would just be at my wit's end, when I wouldn't know what to do anymore because I was tired of the abuse and being in fear all the time of what this person was going to do because they were so volatile and no idea how they were going to act. You're encouraged to, anytime you have a problem, go talk to the bishop, because the bishop is supposed to be the mouthpiece. He's supposed to be the direct line to God and be able to talk for him. So I would go to the bishop, and we had moved to a different city, so the bishop that we had was not my home bishop. But anytime I would go talk to him, and there was several times, because I was with him for a couple years, and we moved to another city when my daughter was just a couple weeks old, or when our daughter was a couple weeks old. So this new bishop, I would go talk to him hoping to get some sort of help, something. And it would always be him questioning, well, are you reading your scriptures? Are you praying? Are you being there for him? Are you giving him what he needs? Like, I remember one time I went and talked to him because I found out that he was cheating on me and with multiple different people. And when I went to go talk to the bishop, heartbroken, he asked me, "Well, are you doing things? Are you doing what you're supposed to in the bedroom?" Like it's my fault. I'm responsible. Like I was responsible for my addicted, abusive husband to cheat on me. Like it was my fault that he did that. It was my fault that he abused me because I wasn't reading my scriptures, because I wasn't being spiritual, because I wasn't helping him through his stuff when I went through so many crazy things with him that I never thought I would go through, that I would never wish anyone to go through with someone that they love and they think loves them. And I'm being asked if I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. Abusive relationship. Because it made me think, well, maybe I'm not doing what I'm supposed to do as a wife. Maybe I'm not being there for him, when that was not the narrative whatsoever. It made me second guess myself. So I guess that's gaslighting in a way. So abusive relationship, check. I was in an abusive relationship with the church for 10 years and put up with it for 10 years. So another thing that fits in my box for abusive relationship is when I was a single mother, after I decided to finally get away from him, from my ex-husband. As a single mother, being in the church, I don't know if they do it on purpose or if it just happens, but, talks that are given and different lessons that are given, like in Relief Society and Sunday school, all seemed so pointed at me. Like, I don't know, it made me feel like, oh, there's the poor single mother. She doesn't have the priesthood. She's divorced, so she wasn't spiritual enough. She wasn't capable enough to keep her husband. Like, I don't, just stuff like that. That's how it made me feel, because the lessons would be about worthy women, and they would be able to have a worthy priesthood holder, and women who weren't worthy would not end up with a priesthood holder, and how not having a priesthood holder in the house was not a bad thing, but you're not as protected. You don't have as much access to God as a woman with a priesthood holder in the house. So, as a single mom, I constantly felt like I was being slapped in the face. Like, single mother, no priesthood holder, bleh. Oh, no husband, bleh. Like, that's how it felt. So I don't know if they did it on purpose, but to me, that's abusive, to constantly make somebody feel that they're inadequate because they don't have, or they're not living a certain way you think, or God supposedly thinks you should be living. So, yeah, abusive relationship. And when I first found out all kinds of stuff about the church that wasn't true, like about certain parts of the history and how the Book of Mormon was actually translated and why Joseph Smith actually died, and I could just keep going on about all these different things. Like, it hurt so bad. It felt like I was being stabbed. Like when you're in a relationship with somebody and you find out that they're cheating on you, it hurts so bad, because the church, even though it wasn't all good. Like, it did change my life. And it made me learn so much about myself and made me learn to love myself and see that I was worthy of, love at least, and who I was in the eyes of God. I was his daughter. It made me have more respect for myself because I felt like I had to live up to a higher standard. So that was a good thing because I wasn't really taught that growing up. So, and not being taught that growing up is what made me be all wild after I turned 18 and to get out because I was super sheltered. I will always say it wasn't all bad. But all in all, I was in an abusive relationship with the church for 10 years. And the only way that I've been able to cope with that and to heal with that, or to heal from that because of what a disappointment it was and how heartbroken I felt and how hurt. Like, I just felt so broken down. I didn't know what to believe. But I didn't want to be bitter because as many Mormon story podcasts as I've watched, there are so many people that were so hurt by the church that they just completely turned away from any sort of belief associated with it. And as a convert and experiencing stuff way before, and then being a member, and then afterwards, like, I don't have that same, I didn't want to be bitter. I didn't want to just, I don't believe that anymore. Jesus isn't true, because I felt like God sent the missionaries to me. I prayed for a way to start new. I was praying for it, and I got that. I got that. And I was able to completely turn my life around because I chose to be a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, because I chose to clean my life up. I chose to make better decisions, and that was an influence of the church, which was a good thing. And I'm happy for that, and I'm thankful for that. And I decided I don't want to be bitter, and I'm not going to be a victim. So, looking at everything and realizing this was an abusive relationship, it helped me to also realize I needed to look within myself. I needed to figure out, what wounds did I have inside? What childhood trauma? What was I dealing with inside that I allowed myself to accept this for 10 years, and to also stay with my ex-husband for the amount of time that I did, and accept that, and the relationships that I had before that, and why I felt the way that I did after finding out about the church and everything that wasn't true. And being able to look inside and really examine myself made me realize there were a lot of wounds. Like, I had an abandonment wound. I had a fear that if I didn't please somebody, if I didn't make them happy, they weren't going to love me. They weren't going to stay. I had to be a people pleaser in order to be worthy, or to gain people's affection or love, or for them to even want to give it to me. So those things right there stem from childhood, stem from growing up with a narcissistic grandfather. And my grandfather was that way because of how he grew up. So it made me realize this was passed down from generation to generation. So this isn't just a me problem. This is something that has been a problem in my family for so many years, because my grandmother put up with my grandfather. My grandmother told me about her mom and how my great-grandfather was with her mom, and it's a cycle. It's a cycle because my great-grandmother put up with a lot and had to deal with a lot. And I'm sure that the women before her, because of how they were taught and brought up, and because of the culture and whatnot, they dealt with a lot of the same things. So it made me realize stems from childhood trauma, but this trauma has been passed down through my family for generations. And it made me realize I'm the person to stop this. So digging within myself also made me, I feel like it brought me closer to what I now refer to with myself as the divine. Because I believe that there is what people call a God or the universe. There's a source. There's the starting point of everything. And I believe that is the divine. That's God. And I do believe Jesus walked the earth. I do believe that he was sent here to teach us about how to be a good person. And I'm going to make another video about that. I plan on making quite a few videos about things that I've discovered and what I've learned from myself as far as faith and understanding the universe as it is and as it works. And I'm excited for that because I feel like so many people feel bitter and hurt from the church that they've just completely turned away from the faith. And there's a lot of things, pick and choose. There's a lot of things Jesus Christ was here to teach that they turn away from because of the church, because of this abusive relationship. It's burned them and hurt them so bad that they want nothing to do with it anymore. And I mean, who can blame them? Because I felt that way for a little bit. It stings, okay? And even though it stings, it's possible to heal from. And not just heal from it, but be the victor instead of the victim. And it's a good feeling to not feel victimized, because now I understand. I understand why I became a member. I understand why it appealed to me. I understand why I called it to myself. I understand why the relationships I was in came to me. Like, I understand all that. And because I understand that, I have been able to go in and fix certain things and adjust things about myself. Like, I still have ways to go. We're always going to be changing. We're always going to be trying to be better, no matter what. I will be better tomorrow than I am today, and I'm better today than I was yesterday. So we will always be working to be better. But I've healed a lot because of the realization that it was an abusive relationship. So I'm thankful for that. I will say that. That is the end of this video. So please like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. And remember, you are worthy, you are worth it, and you are unconditionally loved. Mwah. Bye, everyone.